Tobias Otting, and I'm the junior sartorialist. I have a voice. Do you have a voice? What is that voice? What is your passion? What are you known for? Who do you speak for? And who speaks for you when you don't speak for yourself? This is what I would like to talk to you about today. We all have a voice. We just don't all speak up. And I think that's a problem, because we all have a future. What's going to happen to you in life? And if you don't speak up, that future might just as well pass you by. I am 9 years old and I have a blog. It's fairly well read, at sometimes just by my Montessori school friends, and at others by tons of people I've never met and might not ever even meet. But here I am on the TEDx stage talking to you about finding your voice. I know you're wondering, what am I going to learn from a 9-year-old? But think back to Anne Frank. From Anne Frank, we learned how to have hope in difficult times and to be inspired by the ones we love. I know I'm no Anne Frank, but like her, I'm an individual and I have a voice. I might even mess up at some point during this talk. But that's okay, because that's part of me finding my voice too. But you don't need to be young to find your voice. You can find your voice at any age. Grandma Moses made her first painting when she was 76. I bet she never thought she could do that. We all have a voice, at any age and at any time. As you can see, finding your voice isn't literally about your voice. You can find your voice through many different ways. For example, the Wright brothers spoke through their imagination in inventing the first airplane, something we now just take for granted. Bill Gates is speaking through his philanthropic dollars to help cure malaria. Phyllis Wheatley, an African-American slave, spoke through her poetry, and she was the second ever black published and the first black woman ever published. And Van Gogh spoke through something very different when he decided to mail his ear to his girlfriend instead of talking to her. But it's okay if you don't want to be famous or if you're just an everyday person. My teacher, Miss Rubina, speaks in a hushed whisper, but in my mind she speaks louder than anyone else I know. And my mom just finished running the marathon for College Bound Dorchester, which supports kids in one of Boston's most off-track communities and helps them and inspires them to think of a future that includes college. And they're helping them find their voice through that also. We all have a voice. Once you find your voice, you'd be surprised to know that people will respond to you in very surprising ways. For example, Malala, when trying to speak up for women's education and rights in Pakistan, got shot. So you might be thinking, is this whole thing just a suicide mission? Even though it would be better if she hadn't been shot, think about it. All this really did to her was just amplify her voice. In 1 second, the world knew her life's mission. She found the world, and the world found her. We all have a voice. My blog focuses on fashion, food, and life. I often write about a fashion show I've been in, a dance performance I've been in, or a drum song that I've just learned. But I love to review restaurants. And that brings us to Portland, in a very fine restaurant called Olympic Provisions. While I was there, I had a scrumptious meal and decided to write a blog post about it. Once I had made that, I decided to put it on the restaurant's Facebook page. And on their Facebook page were many other restaurants and local food writers. And they decided, and they had what we call the Portland food spat, about if this was actually me, or just some 40-year-old cleverly disguised as a child blogger. But then, and they had this, because they think that all kids can do is say things like amazing and awesome. But when I had started this blog, my mom had pushed me to think about things past that, instead of saying things like awesome and fantabulous. But then, back to the story, the waitress from the restaurant stepped in and said, "No, this is Toby. I saw him with my own 2 eyes. This is definitely the junior sartorialist." So what did I learn from this? I guess I could have been sad, or I could have been defensive, but I know who I am and I know who I speak for. I speak for what I love and I speak for me. We all have a voice. Speak up. Thank you.